Pupils in England can return to school from next Monday, but some education unions are questioning whether it's safe for them to do so. Data published today by the Office for National Statistics says teachers had the same level of coronavirus antibodies in December as working-age adults living in the same area. Secondary schools are allowed to stagger the return over a week to allow COVID testing to be carried out. But the National Education Union believes the government advice does not go far enough. Well, one union member running for Deputy General Secretary goes further, saying teachers should be balloted for strike action if safety concerns are not met. Let's talk to Martin Powell-Davies from the NEU, which has more than 40,000 members. Welcome, thank you for joining us. So just to be clear, it's not the official position of the union that you're representing, but your view as someone who's standing for office. So what do you think about balloting for strike action?
Well, first of all, it's 450,000 members, and no, the union as a whole, its executive policy is that we should look at collective action if necessary. Of course, none of us wants to take action, but what we do want to make sure is that the government doesn't make a risky mistake. We're in a very delicate situation where all of the official SAGE modelling itself is suggesting that a too rapid release of lockdown could end up with a further spike in infection. So what we're calling on is for all employers, all head teachers, to look at the scientific judgment carefully. And I think that they would agree with us that therefore there should be a gradual return with 50% class sizes, particularly in those areas where infection rates remain high. That is the evidence that has been put forward and the advice from independent SAGE, from the CDC, the federal agency in the United States. It's the sensible step to take, and we hope that schools will take it.
The government has said that there is scope for a staggered return over the course of a week. Is that not enough as far as you're concerned?
No, I mean, that staggering might be required simply for the requirements of getting the lateral flow testing up and running, but that's not what we're talking about. There are areas of the country, particularly up in the north where I am, where infection rates remain up towards 200 per 100,000, when I don't think that it's actually safe to have full class sizes when you're above 50 per 100,000. And that, for example, is the advice of the CDC. So I'm saying that schools should be looking very carefully. The survey that I know you're going to refer to actually makes the point that the high infection rates that we've got in schools are when the mitigations that the DfE recommended were in place. We would say those mitigations are not strong enough. That was what was shown. That's why we had a spike leading up to Christmas. Instead, we need further mitigations, and the key thing is to have smaller class sizes. That means you've got more social distancing, you've got less viral load, testing the ventilation of the room, and you've got less mixing of households. It's the obvious step to take.
We are in a different time compared with previously, which is that the lateral flow testing is going to be rolled out, twice weekly testing, not just for the pupils and the teachers, but also those who they come into contact with at home. And of course, the vaccination programme is being rolled out. So does that not change things?
I think it exactly shows why we need to take this gradual return. Because for every week that you wait, that means more people will be vaccinated, and it means the local infection rates will fall. Rushing to what could be a reckless return against scientific advice, unfortunately means, and of course, most young people certainly in our school environments won't be vaccinated, and indeed at this stage most staff won't be either. So there is a real risk of further infection and that going back into the communities. And it's our communities and our students that we care about. We've been working very hard to support them. We don't want to put them and their families at risk.
One Tory MP has said, and it chimes with the thoughts of many, the first thought in mind, Robert Halfon says, should be about the kids whose life chances have been damaged, both in terms of mental health, learning and safeguarding by being away from school for so long. How do you respond to that?
I saw Robert's comments, but as many parents have replied back to them, the worst that could happen would be for the government to rush a return and then find that after Easter, that in fact, then the infection rate had spiked again. And instead of a permanent return to school, the irreversible move that the Prime Minister talked about, we actually find that again we've got outbreaks, and once again, people are having to make childcare arrangements and work from home, and ourselves, of course, having to teach online again. We would like to be teaching face-to-face, but we want to make sure that's done in a safe and reliable manner, and that's what we're suggesting.
Martin Powell-Davies, thank you.
Thank you.